What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Sacramento Kings pulled off a trade that was very questionable, and it looks like it is a precursor to a bigger deal, according to some reports. So the Kings trade today could be a precursor to a bigger deal, per Jay Anderson, Sac B. The Kings made a trade Monday that could be a precursor to a bigger deal as they prepare for the start of the 2024-2025 NBA season. A league source told the Sacramento Bee the Kings are trading Jalen McDaniels, their 2031 second-round draft pick, and cash consideration to the San Antonio Spurs, confirming a report from ESPN Shams Charania. Zach Lavine and Brandon Ingram are now the frontrunners to land in Sacramento. So, according to reports, according to rumors going around, the Sacramento Kings are looking to make another big splash, that they are looking to pull off some type of deal, and it looks like Brandon Ingram and Zach Lavine could be those targets that make their way over to Sacramento. Now, a couple things, right? First off, when it comes to Zach Lavine and Brandon Ingram makes much more sense for Sacramento than Zach Lavine does, right? One, we've already seen Zach Lavine and Demar Derozan, and there were even kind of rumors about kind of their, like, Zach Lavine had issues with Chicago. DeMar DeRozan was kind of the middleman. Not necessarily that Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan had issues with each other, but Zach Lavine clearly had some issues and still very likely does, but is trying to play nice, trying to play ball with the Chicago Bulls. So is that something that DeMar DeRozan would be interested in? Is that something where DeMar DeRozan would be kind of co-signing, like, yeah, bring Zach Lavine back? Possibly. Also, Zach Lavine is making like $43 million. And how many scorers, ball handlers do you need? Right? Like, I already, and many, not just me, there's many people that question even DeMar DeRozan on the Sacramento Kings. Just because, again, you talk about a high isolation, half-court scorer who doesn't really take a lot of threes, isn't known for pace. You look at DeMar DeRozan, the teams he's been on his entire career, usually towards the bottom as far as pace goes. And you look at a team like Sacramento, they're usually top 3 in pace, usually top 3 in three-point attempts. Sacramento really needed 3-and-D wings more than they needed another on-ball isolation scorer when they have De'Aaron Fox and they have Malik Monk. So it's kind of like, do you really need to add a DeMar DeRozan? And then on top of that, you want to add in a Zach Lavine and a Brandon Ingram? You know, that is a little iffy to me. However, I do think if you were going to acquire one of these two, I think Brandon Ingram makes more sense because at least he is a long, lengthy wing that you can have out on the perimeter. You know, he can slot in, play multiple positions, basically play 2 through 4 for you, defend multiple positions. He's also like $10 million cheaper than Zach Lavine. Obviously, he needs and wants a new contract, and he's looking for a max contract. Is that something that Sacramento would be willing to do? Right? Like, he wants $40 million a year, which still technically would be cheaper than a Zach Lavine deal. Both guys, you look at, have their injury history, but there's an argument Brandon Ingram is more injury prone than even Zach Lavine. Like, you look at Zach Lavine outside of last year, which he played 25 games, but he was supposed to finish the season, and then the Detroit rumors started, and he was like, I'm not going to Detroit. Like, even Chicago was like, wait, you need surgery? Like, everyone was like, what is going on there? You look at the previous years, he played 77 games, 67 games, right? Like, he's a guy that's averaging around, 60 to 65 games a season, where Brandon Ingram, he's had his injury concerns, he's had his injury histories. Also, like, what are you trading to get there? Now, also, the Sacramento Kings need a center, and they need a center badly. I mean, there's talks of them starting Herb Jones at the center position. So you have several guys on this roster that could kind of fill that. It's just which center would they be interested in? Which center? Because you're not trading Sabonis. So it's like, who are you giving up that maybe, like an Alex Len? Would they be open to an Alex Len? Is he a guy that you... Because he's been good for the Sacramento Kings in spots. Is that something where you're looking to unload him? You have Scal, like, do you look to move him? There's definitely questions in that regard. Chicago just wants somebody to take Zach Lavine. So, like, that's not the question. Zach Lavine, I don't think would be the hard part. It's just like, but even then, okay, like let's say they do pull off Brandon Ingram, right? So you have what? De'Aaron Fox? Are you going what? De'Aaron Fox? You going Keon Ellis or are you going Brandon Ingram? Right? So let's say you go De'Aaron Fox, Keon Ellis, Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis. Is that like, doesn't that just sound clunky to you? Right? Like, and then, okay, like, let's say you go with BI and let's say you go Fox, BI, DeMar, and then you go Sabonis, and you have, say, a Keegan Murray. I don't know, right? Like, again, you got DeMar DeRozan. How much more firepower do you need? Like, that was the whole argument. Like, we just want the firepower to keep up with the West. Okay, so DeMar DeRozan isn't enough? So you need a Zach Lavine, and, like, guys still need the ball. Like, you look at teams, right? Like, I've argued DeMar DeRozan on, like, the Lakers or Zach Lavine on the Lakers, like, teams like that. You look at a team like the Lakers or Miami. Miami's another great example, right? Same thing. I've argued DeMar DeRozan on Miami, Zach Lavine on Miami, right? Like, but those teams don't have that here you go get a bucket, right? Like, LeBron James, don't get me wrong, absolutely incredible, but he's a guy that's mostly, put his head down, pull up, knock down a three ball, or put his head down and bully ball. He's not a guy crossing dudes over, getting into his bag, getting to his spots, elevating over the top, and just getting buckets from all over the floor. That's not really his game, right? Anthony Davis, he can do that in stretches, right? Shoot over the top, 15 in. He's absolute money, absolute butter. But he also needs setup and needs to be given the ball where, a guy like a DeMar DeRozan, although I'd have fit concerns with even the Lakers, but like a guy like DeMar DeRozan, okay, better off Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine, I think, would be a flawless fit, right? Zach Lavine, his ability to play off ball, his ability to play on ball, he can get the rebound and just go, right? Not really much setup required. He has an array of scoring ability, right? Like, there's not really concerns of, like, him being limited in the offensive side of things, right? Same thing with Miami. Like, Miami needs that consistent go-to scorer. DeMar DeRozan would be great in Miami. Zach Lavine would be great in Miami. Just a guy you can give the ball to and he can just go get a bucket. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo can do what they do great. Do what they do best, right? But, like, Sacramento, it's just like, how are these lineups are going to be incredibly small. Like, you still need to do other things. You still need to be able to defend. I mean, look at a team like Phoenix, right? Phoenix has 3 of the best scorers in the league on their team, and they can't beat anybody come playoff time. Why? Because they have too many guys that are similar. They have zero size, zero defense. They lack depth, right? I understand, you look at teams like Boston and stuff, and it's like, yeah, they're like 6-7 deep, right? But they also have several pieces that really complement each other, right? All their pieces make sense. All their pieces fit. Having, DeMar DeRozan, Zach Lavine, De'Aaron Fox, like, what are you doing? Is Malik Monk just not closing for you anymore? Or is he? Right? Are you really going to have, like, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis? You're tiny. You have zero def. I mean, make it make sense. You have De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk. You added DeMar DeRozan. Okay. You need to make that work in and of itself. And now you want to add another guy that is similar? I don't get it. I don't get the logic on that. We've seen plenty of teams just put together names for namesake, and it doesn't work out. It's usually a disaster. It usually is disappointing, and then now you're stuck with all these guys, right? Like, you go and trade for Zach Lavine, you're not, like, no, you're stuck with him. Right? So you trading Malik Monk? Is it insurance for if De'Aaron Fox leaves? De'Aaron Fox I don't see leaving, right? He's he's expected to, he's not going to sign the extension this year, because if he waits, then he just gets more money in more years. So, and if he makes an all NBA team, then he gets the Supermax. Right? So it's in his best interest to just wait and be patient, right? And he's even supposedly, based on reports, has said that he wants to be part of Sacramento's long-term plans. Okay, so if you don't have concerns with De'Aaron Fox leaving, then why not build a team that makes sense and fits, rather than just a bunch of guys that can score the basketball? Like, that's great, but you need guys to defend, you need guys to rebound, right? You need guys to do other things. I just think Sacramento's just pushing their chips all in, and their hand isn't very good. You know, it's almost like a bluff. But as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you kind of mixed on it? Do you think like, it just depends? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.